Hello, ladies and gentlemen. For today's video, we're going to get started in looking at the following essential questions for literature. Number 4, what is literary text really about? And number 5, how does interaction with text provoke thinking and response? As you are close reading today, you will be close reading a section from page 13 of Rogue Wave. Remember what we talked about last week with the close read. A close read is 3 different phases. The first phase focuses on what the text says. The second phase focuses on how the text says it. And the third phase focuses on why the text matters. So as we do this, we are going to be focusing on specific learning targets. We're going to focus on the following learning targets. First learning target we're focused on is I can analyze how the author develops and contrasts the points of view of different characters or narrators in the text, as well as I can determine the central ideas or themes of the text and analyze their development over the course of the text. Let's talk about what those learning targets mean. So the first one that's mentioned is point of view. In our learning target packet, point of view consists under learning target number 7 and number 8 to analyze how the author develops points of view of different characters, as well as to analyze how the author contrasts the points of view of different characters. Oftentimes when we think of point of view, we do think of first, second, and third person. So sometimes, just as we talked about in writing class, you could write your piece in first person or third person and that kind of thing. But in the case of reading, we don't stop at, it's written in first person, it's second person, it's third person. In fact, I do not want you to tell me that it's written first, second, or third person in your answer choices. I want you to focus in mainly on that other aspect of point of view that we're going to discuss, which is perspective. Perspective is the angle to which the characters are viewing the world around them. It's their position or outlook. So when we look at how authors develop characters' point of view, you want to focus in on this idea of perspective, the character's viewpoint of the world, the way they see the world, the way they interact with the world. And so as we look at literature through the lens of point of view, make sure we're capturing it through their perspective, the feelings, the emotions, the way they look at the world around them. It is important that you know that point of view can be written in first, second, and third because that does influence the perspective. But in literature class, we definitely want to hone in on their outlook, the way they view the world around them, their perspective, the feelings, their emotions that are surrounding the way they view the event that they're taking part in this case, Rogue Wave. Also keep in mind that authors can contrast points of view. Contrast means to see what's different about two or more different points of view. So we have multiple characters in this piece, which means they're going to have multiple perspectives. They're going to have multiple points of view. They're going to look at the situation that they're in within that text differently between the two of them. So I want you to think about how the authors contrast the points of view of Scoot and Sully as you close read today, and look closely at how the author actually uses different parts or features of the text to show that contrast in the two characters' viewpoint, in their perspective, in their point of view. So that is 2 learning targets that we're going to cover. And then after that, we are going to spend some time in that third and final phase looking at theme. Theme is the theme learning targets are to determine the theme or central idea of the text and to look at how the author, analyze how they develop over the course of the text. A theme is that message, that big message that the author embeds in the text through the experiences and the lessons learned by the characters. A theme sometimes can seem like a lesson, but we like to call it the message as opposed to the lesson. It's something that anyone that maybe didn't even read the text could take away and understand from a reading of it. So think about, what is that message that is given within the piece that you're reading today in Rogue Wave? And how do you notice it or see it through the text evidence of the given passage? So here's the specific part you will reread 3 times. In the first read, remember you're going to read it for what the text says. So as you read through this first time, I want you to read over and kind of look for and highlight keywords that you think help show the point of view in the text. There might be multiple points of view or perspectives within this text. After you highlight where you see the points of view, I want you to answer these questions. What do we know about the point of view in which this text is written? So what are some basic things that you learn about the point of view of Rogue Wave from this excerpt? Once you decide that, you're going to just answer the question below. In phase 2, remember, you go back, you reread that section. This time you're rereading that section, looking for how the author wrote it. In this case, I want you to look at how the author contrasts the points of view of Scoot and Sully. As we look at this kind of idea right here, we really are looking at multiple literary topics. Within this question, you're being asked to look for a couple things. First thing you're being asked is to look for points of view. You're also being asked to look at how it's contrasted. So we have two things that you have to focus on. You have to think of a thing here. So how is the point of view contrasted? And then you have to really know what the points of view of those particular characters in fact is. So we have one reading element over here, how it's contrasted. We have the second reading element over here, point of view. So as you answer this question, make sure that you're answering both parts, how it's contrasted and what in fact the perspectives of those characters are. So we have two different components you have to address within this particular question. Make sure you address both parts, how the author contrasts it and what the point of view actually is. Once you figure that out by rereading the text, please put your answer down here for phase 2. In phase 3, you're rereading the text one final time. This time we're thinking a little bit differently. I want you to think about what is a message or theme that you learn from just this section in the text. For this one, you don't have to give text evidence. Later on, we will at some point. But I really just want you to think about what is a message that someone can learn from this particular section of the text. Remember, it's outside of the text. It's not part of the text. It's a big message that anyone could take away from the reading. And you put that as your answer here. Also, as it says, please make sure that you use that evidence you highlight to help explain your answer. So go ahead and get working on this close read.